As famed dungeon masters, the Backstreet Boys once said, when praising their players, I don't care who you are, where you're from, don't care what you do, as long as you plan your turn in advance. For fuck's sake. Hey, welcome to Homebrew, the show where we avoid the crushing dullness of everyday life using our two favorite forms. Can you tell I'm not comfortable in my chair? Is that obvious on stream as I'm bouncing around? Our favorite forms of escapism, alcohol, and a thing we call Dungeons and Dragons. Pretty sure other people call it that too, but hey. Speaking of alcohol, let's get introduced to the brews of the week. I'm back on an old favorite. This is a little fawn, of which I haven't, it's not that I drank half, it's just in a smaller can. So that's what I've been drinking, but working our way around. Probably not in overlay appearance, but in the way I see you on my screen. Lucy, what are you drinking today?
I am drinking a brew from, I've got a mug of Barry's tea, and I also have a mug of Lemsip, because I thought they would cool at slightly different speeds, you know, so they'll last me a bit longer. So that's just a cool trick. I want to, you know.
Hot tip.
Yeah,
hot to tepid tip.
If you don't top it up with cold water, I mean, you can wait a half an hour and it'll still be good. So,
cool.
So I'm a buzz soon. You know, a bit of paracetamol buzz.
Yeah. You'll be on that sweet medicinal high.
Exactly.
Stream all good over there, Paul? I'm seeing was it just chat? Chat have got up. That's just the usual delay.
As in Isaac's stream didn't start, so he's like the 30 seconds on the 30 seconds behind kind of thing, so you can just move the counter forward if you wanted. Hi Isaac, how's it going?
Hello. We're from the future.
Yeah, we are 30 seconds ahead. Man, that would be terrifying if there was like a nuclear fallout and you saw a stream and then 30 seconds. Like, wow, imagine that. Oh, anyway, I actually don't. That's terrifying. Paul, what are you drinking?
I am currently packing and have stupidly packed some of the things from this room into boxes, so I have nothing to drink right now. So I'm just drinking Lucozade. Not sponsored by Lucozade or anything like that. Just plain old Lucozade. But
we are sponsored by Barry's and Lemsip.
Yes, we are. Yeah.
We're leaving money on the table there, you know.
But I do want to shout out. There's I will shout out eventually some Instagram thing that I have a lot of cocktails that I really want to try with them. So I'll probably give that at the end of the break or something like that. Because there's a massive amount of cocktails.
Or unless you need to look it up, right?
I need to look it up because I've been trying a couple of their cocktails, and although they have a lot of Mountain Dew in them, which we can't really get, they are phenomenally really good. And they also do what I like is they also do they do the alcohol and the alcohol-free version. So, which the recipes are actually quite different, but they taste the same.
Take their Mountain Dew, replace it with our version of Mountain Dew whiskey, and you'll be having a great time.
Yeah, double up on the alcohol. Like no, dash of rum and some of Irish Mountain Dew, which is Paddy's.
Tullamore Dew.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
So,
and Keelan, what are you drinking?
I'm finally drinking something that I had for a while. The beer that refreshes, which is a picture of a hand holding a thing. It is a. Is it now? 6% cola, cinnamon, and marshmallow drink. I always hate marshmallow in beers.
Every stream.
Not every stream. just sometimes they sound nice, and I go, maybe the marshmallow won't. That might have happened in this case because it kind of tastes like if Coke was alcoholic, I guess, which is probably what they were going for. The marshmallow gives it too much sweetness, so I'd say it's probably tastes of Coke Zero sweetener.
Those are two of your strong interests, Keelan, combined. This is a big day.
Well, the cinnamon was what drew me to it, but yeah, I think it's really nice. I think it's actually possibly the only nice beer ever to have a marshmallow thing in it. But
would you call it refreshing?
It is refreshing. It's refreshing because I have it actually cool to a proper temperature, and it just tastes like a delicious flat Coke. Which I guess sounds bad, but you know.
Yeah, I was going to say that's not that great, is it?
I said delicious first.
Yeah, he did.
Oh yeah. Sorry, you did caveat with the deliciousness. So I apologize.
Like ages ago when I described the other thing as like delicious toothpaste or mouthwash or whatever else. you know, it's the same thing. People forget about the delicious. They only listen to the second comparison.
Yeah.
You know?
If you're drinking anything in the snug, our little sidebar over here, do let us know. And if you're watching the VOD below, drop a little comment and let us know what you're drinking. We might use it in a future episode. Although I should, speaking of caveats, caveat this episode. You might have seen we posted across our socials, in our Discord. If you're not following us or in there, go do that. Because you'll get cool updates like this. This is a little bit of a strange episode. We're sort of doing the epilogue of the last episode. Ben, you might ask, how? Wes isn't here, and you'll find out. But because it was quite a thrilling ending. And here's a little fun thing for everyone who saw episode 69. You are one episode ahead of Lucy, who did not see the ending. So she's going to find out live with Huck's recap what happened. No, it's a little bit fair. You watched most of it, just not the last bit. And the last bit is where we really ramped it up to 90. So you're going to see what happened, and everyone watching can watch Lucy's reaction live. That's exciting.
It's going to be real weird. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. So we'll wrap that up because we're building up to something a little bit bigger for episode 71. We need a little bit of time for it. Essentially, we tried to get there in the last episode, but something so big happened that we're like, oh, fuck, let's just leave it there. So we're just going to kind of tie a little ribbon on that. And then in the part 2 of this, we'll do a Q&A. If you're watching this on VOD and you're doing, well, this is just like a little short episode, whereas the Q&A, we've probably cut the episode bit out, uploaded it just by itself, just to keep the little playlist going. And then if you look just through our general videos, you'll find both stuck together the way they were on live. You don't have to do that, but it's something a little extra special for our live viewers who we cherish and adore. And I can see we have some Yaki Red, a Crusher IPA, a Neon Beer Hug, a Tropical Beer Hug, a Hazy Beer Hug, a Secret Beer Hug. They're the Beer Hug family, of course. Yeah. All from Goose Island. What a terrifying place. We got some...
Tom said whiskey, but what brand? Because that could majorly affect what we can use it for. So
yeah. Drop it in.
I really hope it's teachers. That'd be great. There's a flood of teachers come in.
Yeah, or we just invent whichever one it is that we decide. You know.
Yeah. Just have a little, I don't know, John's Lane. It's quite a good whiskey.
This is Writer's Tears. Ben has to give up all of his notes, and
we've done that.
Try on screen.
True.
And of course,
okay, I think
bubbly water.
Yeah, I don't have any of them. I've made some because I got one of those drink make things, of which historically on the show I like to fizz things that aren't water. But yeah, I'll go get that at the break. I'm also going to make myself a little whiskey sour at the break for the chat part of it because it's a little chill and I don't have to pay attention to my notes.
Oh, James, Stout edition.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, I've been interested about that. So it was barrel aged in a stout cask. Is that right, Tom?
Sounds interesting.
Oh, no, we'll wait 30 seconds for him to answer.
Yeah.
But...
That was very sports and edgy. Did I hear that right, Tom? That was barrel aged in a stout barrel. Oh, over to you, Tom.
Hi, Tom.
On the ground. Yep. Mountain by the cup. Okay.
It does bring you into perspective when you start streaming the whole the whole studio to live kind of thing where they're just like, and yeah, I'm standing outside, you know. So
why don't they? And just TV channels, you can take this one for free. Make a sort of 15 to 30 second impressive star wipe that can just bring us from live from the studio to live, and everyone will be entertained. Just a nice little trickle down of effects.
I mean, the question is, why does everyone not use star wipes all the time? You know, I mean, it's usually just normal transitions or some kind of fancy, like, fluid hidden transition somewhere. You look at Star Wars, it's just cheesy wipes every which way you could possibly go, and that's one of the most famous film series of all time. So it can't have been wrong.
Yeah, I don't think it is.
Yeah.
They made TV shows out of that. That's a successful thing.
Just constant, just star wipe all the time.
Star wipe. Speaking of star wipe, let's star wipe into some housekeeping. We still have our Dakota Irish discount code running. It's Huck Yeah! Huck Yeah! You should see it in the description below. That will get you 10% off your purchase on dakotairish.com. You will find a incredible array, a menagerie of dice, of which we have some to give away live in this sort of special episode that we're teasing. So we'll have a live set of dice to give away. I actually have them here. I can show them to you. They're in this unopened little box. They came in an envelope, but I took them out of the envelope because then you'd know my address, of which I've probably said live on stream before, but these could be yours at episode 71, so stay tuned. But if you cannot wait and you want 10% off, you want to pay 90% of the recommended retail price, you can go to dakotairish.com and put in "Huck yeah" at checkout. And if you're in Ireland, they're testing out a new delivery system. I think it's still going, and you can get it in like 1 to 2 business days, which means if you're playing D&D at the weekend, you'll have these by Wednesday or Thursday or Friday, depending when it all depends on when you order. That's how it works. And then Heroes Out. What, is there anything coming up on this Thursday's Heroes Out, Paul?
So this Heroes Out is the September roundup. So we do at the end of each month we do a roundup of all the interesting, and also if any kind of news stories comes out during that week, kind of an update for everybody, just to kind of catch up on any entertainment news. It's mostly going to be, you know, I think anyone who's in the entertainment kind of like bubble is going to know that we're going to have a story on probably like Harry Styles and Chris Pine, that whole shenanigans kind of thing. But yeah, there's some interesting things that are also come out this month that a lot of people probably didn't notice or may not have heard, because I also know that Switch is also going mental, so people may have been looking at that. So, but yeah, so it is.
Watch Heroes Out the way I watch Heroes Out, which is I take their opinions and pretend they're my own at parties. So.
Well, I'm happy. It's going to be really interesting when we finally get to a party that we're both there, and I'm just like, wait a minute, that's Patrick's opinion.
How dare you not pick my opinion and pick Patrick's opinion?
But yeah, so September news or like entertainment news roundup. That's what we're going to be doing on Thursday. So
very, very cool. I think that brings us to the end of the opening of the show bit. So if we're all ready to play, if we're all feeling good, pull up a chair, grab yourself a drink as we dive into a world where anything is possible, but not always probable. Welcome back to the realm of Hibernia. Huck, Makara, for the people who are catching up, and mainly for Lucy, what have you been up to?
Hiya. Well, sure, we arrived in the Fae, you know, the old, my old gaff, you know, big castle, all the Fae stuff, all the usual, you know, time nonsense and other things going along. I honestly didn't know if I have any concept of speaking to my future self in the future, and or dealing with my memories from the past. I had a wee bit there where I was just remembering the past. I might get there. Anyway, we all arrived, and sure, didn't Arlington just immediately see the apparently incredibly obvious and specific wizard-sleeved hand of Tadgh. I mean, he was certain. He couldn't have been more certain that the dismembered hand of his adopted father was just there. I mean, in hindsight, it could have been a trap, but, you know, it's there. So he flew into the rage of all rages. I was obviously concerned. I chased after him because he ran straight into the Fae, and that's dangerous because you run a straight line in the Fae, you absolutely don't arrive in a straight line. You'll arrive from the left and then from the right, and then there's some other directions. I can't really, it's secret Fae information. I can't really give it to filthy normal mortals, as I always say about filthy normal mortals. So
FNMs? Yeah.
Yeah, FNMs. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard you. Never mind.
Well, you haven't been listening, you filthy.
You're an FNI. You're a filthy normal immortal god. FNIG.
Yeah. Randier's managed to get past the classification. He doesn't know anything about the Fae, but you know he's lost a whole thing. Anyway, so I was chasing after that Arlington. It turns out, I mean, even in the Fae, he managed to get very, very far, very, very quickly. So I was just following what seems like. It seems like he opened the door, and then as the door swung back, it was just everything was covered in blood. At first it was pristine, and then everything was just covered in blood. And then I was just following along. There was blood. There was some wolves, fully clothed in tuxedos, ran past me. That was strange, but you know, not that strange to be honest. And then there was just a bunch of naked guys at leashes, I think passed out or dead on the ground. And I kept on walking, and sure, didn't I see Arlington in front of a large, massive, what I like to call fireball-sized mob. So I mean, I instantly fireballed them. We got rid of a lot of them. That was great. And we're blasting on through in his, he's in his rage. He's blasting on through. I mean, we spot Lavog. I've jumped down to near where Lavog is. Lavog's doing some stuff. I try to counterspell it. It Disney work. We spot Lavog. He's just spouting all sorts of nonsense and just standing there like this, waiting for Arlington to really flip out and notice him. And Arlington just goes through all of the people there that hadn't been fireballed. He blasts on straight through to Lavog. I give him a haste. This is gonna be great. We're gonna, it's the best. He gets like 12 attacks. It's the most perfect. It's like I think he might crit. I'm not sure, but I don't know if he does. But either way, he basically destroys everything. Everything. There's like 12 attacks. He's doing all the damage. It's everything. And Lavog starts laughing. He's mad. So that's. I mean, evil people. When you kill enough evil people, let me tell you. They're always laughing when you're trying to kill them. That's the last that's their last trick. Never fall for it, So he's blasting on into them, and then out of nowhere, the spell drops, and he starts to turn into Tadgh McGinnis. Yes, and Arlington's father, and Arlington, he's so blinded with rage and everything else that we have. I mean, there was no stopping him. He was already well into his 12 attacks and his crit and everything else.
Wait, who turned into
Lavog.
His father, or
Lavog turned into Tadgh McGinnis while Arlington was in the middle of dismembering him. And Arlington did not stop. At the point that we've stopped, more or less Arlington has eviscerated Tadgh McGinnis. There's no nicer way of disemboweled, nicer way of saying it. Decapitated. And I mean, that's literally where we left. But Arlington had just killed Tadgh McGinnis.
His father, okay.
His father, yes.
At that point in time, you hear Huck from the shadows. And the real Lavog, who had cast an illusion spell over Tadgh McGinnis to make Tadgh look like him, steps out of the shadows. Perfectly done, Grud. Almost exactly to plan. Made it quite easy. Because after all, aren't you just a stupid mere monster in civilian clothing? I didn't know how I'd break your body, but I knew if I started with your mind, this would be easy. And he begins to walk closer to Arlington, who has holding Tadgh's head in his hand, looking at him. His eyes just he is just blank, and he kind of drops to his knees. The world sort of goes dark around Arlington as the light fades from Tadgh's eyes. And all the bandits that you haven't killed from outside begin to step into the hallway. Lavog waves his hand, casting another spell, and they all turn into a visage of Tadgh McGinnis, who begin to circle around Arlington, echoing Lavog's voice. After all, you've only been a dirty bitch boy. Mine to mold, mine to use. I didn't even sound like me in the first illusion. Yes, that's right. What you might have thought was a mistake on the DM's part was actually a theatrical ploy. Because obviously I've always sounded like this. And he gets a little bit closer to Arlington, and he goes, you humiliated me, the sleeve gem. You humiliated me when you left my gang. But you, and he punches him in the kidney, are nothing, punches him again, but a stupid headbutts him. And you can even see that Lavog has sort of like cracked a little bit of his own forehead. Nothing but a stupid monster. You forgot one thing, Arlington. Crime always pays. And I am the debt collector. And he just like slams him down. He walks away. It's almost pathetic how stunned you are. Do your worst, boys. And all of the dirty bitch boys begin to just sort of like proper like toe kick Arlington, completely eviscerate. Like they're just pounding in. Arlington's still like his rage has dropped, but it's still half damage to him because of the sheer shock. And he takes quite the pummeling from all his. Yeah, sure.
In a rage, fireball everyone, hoping that Arlington.
Lavog spins his hand and counterspells it.
Counterspell. The counterspell is counterspell.
Nice. Another bandit counterspells your counterspell with his counterspell. We can keep going.
I don't know how many spell slots he has. Again.
Counterspell.
Damn it. Okay, that's all my spell slots.
You're outside, Huck, watching this happen. As it seems like anywhere between 20 to 30 bandits are just getting kind of cheap digs in on Arlington, who is covered in his foster father's blood. How do you feel in this moment?
How do I feel? I mean,
I would have asked Wes, but he's not dead. He's sick.
Yeah. Wait. Tadgh's only sick?
No. Wes, anytime anyone's not in the stream, we promise you they're not dead. They're just sick or busy or doing something else.
Except for that time that we said that Lucy was dead. She was.
Yeah, it's become a kind of a tradition.
It's an Avril Lavigne situation, Lucy.
Yeah. She went to Brazil and
it's a different Avril.
Was replaced with a clone.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'd spot the real Lucy anywhere, and it's not you. I feel, absolutely awful. I felt awful at the time, which is now. And that's why I tried to fireball. I mean, I shouldn't have let it go this long. But I'm incredibly drained of all of my spell slots and all of the gore, and I just didn't see this coming. So at the moment, I'm kind of stunned with how much I failed my friend. I tried to counterspell, I failed. And I'm in my own home, I should be at my seat of my own power. So I feel awful. This is the worst, to put it plainly.
Time almost begins to slow down in that horrific way that only the Feywild can. Brandir, Iggy, you remember in this moment through one of your passing through the 12-doored puzzle room, like quite a monstrous scream, almost like a howl at the moon. And you don't know at the time what it is, but anyone who's in the ballroom at the moment realizes that it is Arlington. He manages to push some of these bandits off, and blood-drenched and ripping, almost like, what's that dance movie where it's raining and they have their shirt off and they're doing the, or maybe, it's a flash dance, or maybe I'm thinking of Shawshank. Either way, it's a Shawshank flash dance situation.
They're basically the same film.
Yeah.
Probably.
One of them bans dance, the other one bans being not incarcerated.
Andy Dufresne, I remember him dancing a lot in that movie.
Pretty sure that's how they get out of prison, right? It's a big dance competition.
They dance their way out.
Yeah. They hold a talent show. A big dance talent show, and they just dance their way out. No. Yeah. I really liked that. It's such a light-hearted film, Shawshank. Actually,
straight out the prison door.
It's such a wacky romp in the end, and you don't expect that.
Yeah. His redemption's, quite positive, I think.
Yeah. The Shawshank bit's dark, no doubt, but right at the end, the redemption.
But in this room, you hear a very recognizable voice, the voice of your father, who booms over the ballroom and says, "Lavog, cease this now!" And all the bandits seem to stop. And they almost sort of not scarper, but they step back. Arlington's still there. It gives you an opportunity to kind of run up to him. And over the course of the next couple of minutes, as the dust and blood and sweat and everything settles, Lavog takes a step back. He has that sort of villainous smirk, that kind of raised, and he just cracks his neck a little bit. He's very satisfied with what he's done, knowing, of course, what he has in place in this realm. And we cut forward a little bit in time to a dining table in a different part of the castle. A little Stan Lee pops in at the bottom of the screen and goes, "Well, true believers, look back at episode 68 if you don't know where this is." As we see Iggy and Randir opening the doors for the second time, being welcomed into the feast. To give you a little sort of fresher up, Arlington is he is speechless. He is sort of in a walking coma, I suppose is what you call it. Just a walking kind of sense of completely blank behind the eyes, drenching blood. He doesn't even touch any of the food, and it's lavish food in front of him. He probably shouldn't either. It's Fey food, so good on him. Lavog sits opposite him. He's happily tucking in. Your father King Puck sits at the top of the table. Huck, you are beside him, right-hand side. And he turns to you, Iggy and Rander, goes, huh, well, now that we're all here, I'd like to explain the situation a little bit. This man, this hobgoblin, he's evoked the law of hospitality. I'm afraid that means that while he is in this place, I cannot request that he leave, and he cannot come to any harm, as it would be affront on my reputation, which, as you can imagine, as a king of this realm, is incredibly important, and not just important, but almost magical in its power. So I am so sorry, boy, in terms of you, Huck, but I'm afraid he seems to have you vested in every sense of the word. You cannot harm him. He's not going to leave. Yeah, damn right. And so I guess, refresh yourselves. I wish I could help you, but I am simply bound by Fey law. You understand, son?
Oh, I understand. The oldest trick in the old Fey book. The old the hitherto impossible to beat hospitality trick. And yet in every Fey story, there's always a way. And I think I have it. There's one thing even the law of hospitality can't protect you from. That is the game of death! I invoke the game of death.
King Puck grabs your hand and goes, boy, the game of death. But you know what this means.
Oh, I know it all too well, Da.
He turns to Lavog. My son has invoked the game of death. Do you know what this means? Game of death sounds easy. But no, for the sake of me and maybe Iggy and Rancher, maybe anyone who might read this in a book sometime in the future, please enlighten me. And he turns to you, Puck.
Well, the game of death, it's like any old, Fey. It's like a duel, but happens in the old Fey world. And you've had some duels before, have you, Lavog? Yeah, you know the way. If you're the person who challenges the other person, then you're the injured party because you decided to challenge them. So the only fair thing is to let that person decide how you play, what weapons you use, all of the things. That's how we've always done it in the Fae. So I think we're gonna play a game, and this game is the game of death.
So you get to set the rules. You get to set the battleground. You get to set basically everything. And what do I get if I win?
Oh, well, if you win, we'll all die. Sorry, Hux Punks. I really made a decision on the old, it's a game of death. You can't be going into a game of death and then walking out of the game of death being like, oh, look, there was no death, actually. That was a lovely old game. This isn't one of those games. This is a game, only two teams step in, one team steps out. That team's the better at the gaming. Now, as the affronted party in the duel, I will pick the game of death. I will have to host the game of death. I cannot be involved. My team, my Huxpunks, will be my champions throughout the game against you, Lavog. And they will win, for I have played millions of games with them, and they've never once, as far as I've been able to see, tired of any of those games, and they've definitely remembered all the rules of all the games I've taught them. I mean, I can't possibly lose. I've been training them for this whole time.
We'll see about that. I seem to have already bested one of your Hux punks, is it? Looks more like a dirty bitch boy to me. And I'll make dirty bitch boys of you all. But no, I'm not recruiting you. I was using that time as a insult, but when you're part of the crew, it's actually kind of a badge of honor.
I think Randy's gonna be just like, does this mean that I'm in the gang?
This will be your initiation.
Oh, okay.
If you do well on the game of death, we always have a game of death. You'll ask. They've all been through it. Sometimes we wipe the memories of everyone who games of death. That won't happen this time. So you'll remember.
Okay.
At that, King Puck claps his hand together. Well, so be it. A game of death. Let's invite the realm. It's quite the festivity, really. It's been quite a while since we've had games here in my castle. I think this is going to be quite the event indeed. You might call it... Well, if I was to put a otherworld term on it, Dungeons and Dragons, the game show.
I didn't know what that means, but it sounds fun.
Dungeons and Dragons, huh? Not a good.
That's why it's a game of death. Otherwise, we'd be calling it Jumanji. And he...
Jumanji!
Lavo puts his hand out and goes, okay. I win, you all die. Rua presumably promotes me or just thinks job well done. You're wiped off the board. Okay, end of the road for you. You win. Even if I find a way out of this, Rua will probably kill me, so I'll die one way or the other. I cannot refuse this, for I do know the laws of the Fae. So, put it here.
Well, there you go, and I'll high five his hand. I won't buy it.
Make a acrobatics check as he tries to. First game to me, too slow.
Oh yeah. Can I be sleight of hand?
Yes.
Can I just do something as a divine and also just as an aspect of space and also a divine like being now? Can I like secretly try to see if I can actually kick Larvogue out of the Feywild and just be like, because like I'm still haven't used any of these powers, and I know this is probably gonna like Randir can see definitely that it's like you know like the world is becoming rubber just around Larvogue, and it's just like and then it just kind of wobbles back, and it's just like okay, well that doesn't work.
Yeah, give me a space check.
I'm just gonna roll a d20 for you. So like,
yeah, roll a d20. We'll add something on if you're higher than a 15. Let me know. You have to beat a 15 hook on your sleight of hand. What'd you get?
Yes, I did it. I did 19 because I have +7 on sleight of hand.
You just first game to you. Well played.
Can they beat me at too slow, too fast?
Oh, what did you get?
Well, but definitely need to bone up on my whole like divinity and also aspect of being space because I critically failed. So So
yeah,
critically failing on being the aspect of space could be really dangerous.
I definitely feel like nothing's going to happen except for I'm going to get a penalty on the quiz.
Well, so interesting enough, you know that you could, in theory, almost like the spell Banishment, just move him out of this realm and into the equivalent space in the material plane. You do manage to succeed, actually. Even with a critical fail, you move him into two places at once. You're the only person in the room who can see this. It is happening. The only reason it doesn't succeed, so to speak, is that he is currently in the material plane and the Feywild at once. This realm is sort of emerging. It's the very environment of it is pushing against you, and so you are trying to enact your will on a force of nature, which, as an ideal of it, is your domain. But in this particular case, being protected by the law of hospitality and being challenged to a game of death, there's too many other sort of traditions in place that just sort of lock them in. But if you did this anywhere else but exactly here, that would have worked.
Yeah, like I think Randir probably knew that there was going to be systems within systems stopping him from being able to do this. Otherwise, the hospitality really wouldn't work on anything like too much.
Yeah, and it's not often you have an ideal of space walking through and just like, whoop, get out of here.
Yeah, but I thought I'd give it a go just to make sure. You
know.
know?
And you do have a better sense of this after trying, for sure. With the game of death in place, and this being sort of just a little tie-up, we are going to end the session here. Now, for people watching, you're like, what? You just started streaming.
Yeah.
Yes, because part 2 is going to be a Q&A session with us, because we are going to put on a game show. In about episode 71 is going to be a game show which Keelan's going to host. We're going to play in. It's not going to be D&D.
Huck is going to host.
Huck is going to host. We're going to play in. I'm going to practice my Saiyan accent because it's fun to do.
Is it going to be 40 minutes of you just going,
what? No.
What?
Yeah, exactly.
+1. It's over 9,000.
Very well played. So yes, we are going to end the session here. So live viewers, we need your help with a little bit of theatrics. We are going to take a break soon, but the plan is to kind of cut this part of the episode and upload it as itself as a little kind of mini step into, for anyone watching the VOD, so the playlist isn't worked up. So I'm going to pretend like I'm ending the episode for real, but we will be back after the break. So bear with me, okay? Thank you so much for joining us. We will be back in about 2 weeks' time. We are going to do a special one-shot as Huck prepares for the game show called Arcane Investigators, where the other players here will play Arcane Investigators. The way the game's going to work is they're going to come across crime scenes, and through their investigation, we're going to sort of reenact the battles that took place there to see if they can figure out what has happened. And then, for episode 71. Actually, we might make Arcane Investigations just an official canon episode. It's still in the Homebrew world. It just won't be with Huck's Punks. So it might be episode 71, episode 72. We'll be back for Dungeons & Dragons, the game show. Game of Death. Game of Death. Game of Death. But our next stream will be October 11th. Until then, good night. Be sound. Joy be with you all. And we're going to pretend to fade here. Upload this. Have the little thing.